Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing jump over from Captain America to give the Guardians of the Galaxy a new lease on life with a completely new direction, diving headfirst into a really cool Western-themed space story filled with interesting plot developments. The biggest being, what the hell has happened to the team? Last we saw them, they were making the Guardians a proper superhero team, something I really enjoyed and loved that they all got matching uniforms and becoming a bit more heroic. Here, Lansing and Kelly seem to have kind of jumped over that to the end of that story, showing us the team kind of like shattered thanks to something happening with Groot, which turns the tree into literally a giant bad guy who eats planets. To find out more about Groot, we're going to have to wait for the GROOTFALL special to come out very soon, but I love that the book just kind of throws us into the chaos and depicts the team now as these hardened vets who are done playing around, especially Peter, who definitely seems a bit more harder-edged and tougher thanks to just the years and years of war and death surrounding him. Yes, I am a little sad we didn't get more of the superhero Guardians the previous run was building up to, but thanks to what Kelly and Lansing have done with Cap and how they've positioned this story, we can go back to that, and I'm looking forward to seeing them exploring this new version of the team and their new dynamics. Kev Walker dives back into the Guardians and gives Kelly and Lansing's new direction a truly unique look, running rampant in the Western setting with some insanely cool gunslinger designs for Star-Lord and Gamora, a real femme fatale look for Mantis, and a cool Conan the Barbarian look for Drax. I do like that Nebula, fitting to her no-nonsense character, just kinda still looks like Nebula, like very sci-fi Nebula, not bothering to go with the team's new looks or the new theme the team is going for. I do hope that these fun new designs do stick around for a while, since it gives the team a kind of uniqueness, and if we can't have the matching uniforms they had before, giving them each a unique identity is just as good. Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1 was an awesome creative new beginning to the team that, through its cool action set pieces and tense pace, leaves us with a lot of big questions regarding what has happened to the spacefaring team. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10. Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1 arrives on the dusty desert planet of Galilee 4, where something above the world explodes into 5 pieces. A being talks about a legend of a torch that burned brightly in the void, so bright that it burned its own atmosphere and never ran out. 3 other bonfires join this fire, becoming beacons of hellfire, and while some called them a team or a family, they were a fire, and a fire only ends one way. Across the dusty plains comes Star-Lord, who tells his mount that it's only a little further until the end of the line. Peter arrives in the town of Solitude, finding strung up bodies and signs stating that there is no war there. He sees the Guardian's symbol on one of the bodies, thinking that it's time to ruin some lives. A small alien child comes to see him, asking if his life feels wrong, and if it does, he needs the Star-Lord and his salvation is at hand. Peter tells him to go back to his mother since the streets are about to get mean, as someone tells him that Solitude isn't for anyone but those who founded it, and he cannot stay. Peter is confronted by a red-skinned man with 4 guns, who asks if Peter wants a shallow grave or a fond farewell. Peter tells him that it doesn't have to be either, since salvation is looking him right in the eye, and after what's coming for the planet, there isn't going to be any more Solitude. Peter warns the man that if he pulls those triggers, he'll get a knife to the head, as suddenly, a knife hits the man in the head as Peter tells the arriving Gamora that he was trying to save these people, not kill them. Gamora tells him that everyone is dead, it's only a matter of when that happens. Nebula pipes up over the comms, agreeing with her sister as she speeds into town on her speeder bike, telling the others that they might be the only colony of Corplexians left in the galaxy after their world was wiped out by Galactus. She finds it quite sad and all, but the data doesn't lie. The fall is coming soon, and they need to act now. However, there's a 79% chance the town is run by a local gang, which further complicates things. Nebula takes off for the center of town, telling the rest of the team to try checking the saloon to find the welcome wagon they sent ahead of them. In the saloon, the dressed up Mantis finishes her performance, thanking the crowd for watching her. Peter and Gamora arrive and watch as Mantis tells the people that something bad is coming for them, and she uses her powers to try and coax the people to evacuate the town. As outside, Peter's mount is shot dead as the ruling gang of Solitude arrives, telling the Guardians that the town is theirs, and they earned it. The leader tells the team that everyone knows who the Guardians of the Galaxy are and how it's been a year since they ran off from the galaxy, but now they want to come to the edge of known space, the only place a person can be truly free, and tell them how to live? The leader refuses to accept their orders as Star-Lord tells the man that he's seen more war than he can imagine, and he hasn't been good for a minute. He says goodbye to the dirtbag as the Guardians kill their way through the gang. Peter spots the people watching, telling them to get out of the town if they want to live, so Mantis reverts back to her friendly form and guides them out, as Nebula spots something coming into orbit above them. One of the gang members say that they'll never get past the mountains, and Gamora feels that the gang has something hidden up their sleeves, killing the last of them as Mantis leads the people through the town to a train. The red-skinned kid from before asks Mantis what the hell happened to the Guardians of the Galaxy. The team usher the people into a hover train, filling the carts before blasting off. Peter hopes that their ride is just beyond the mountains, and Nebula knows it is, as long as he stuck to the plan, that is. Peter knows that it's the mountains the gang were talking about as they see a Lokesh war walker blocking their way. Peter hates when Gamora is right, as the people think the train will be their coffin. Nebula tells the team that they'll be able to get by it as Drax appears on the ground in front of the walker, lifting up one of its legs and toppling it into the canyon below. He says to it that it was once a weapon of war, but now is just a ruin in dust, making him and the walker kindred spirits. The train stops to pick Drax up, and the people use the opportunity to try and get off, thinking they're safe now that they're out of town. Gamora tells him that it's not just the town that was doomed, it's the entire planet. The train arrives at the Guardian ship and Peter orders Drax to connect the train to the ship. The people again try and leave, claiming that they are not livestock and will not stand for this, but Gamora shuts the man down. He thinks that some of her whiskey will help him, but Gamora violently tells him that if he touches her drink, he dies. Mantis tells Peter that she is staying with the people in the train carts, so she can see the view, but Peter warns her not to do that and to come to the ship. Nebula thinks that either way, Mantis and them have a 50-50 chance of surviving, so it doesn't really matter. The ship's engines fire up as Mantis tells the boy that she didn't answer his question before because while she knew the answer, she wanted to show it to him. She points out the window, showing him what happened to the Guardians of the Galaxy as a giant Groot falls onto the planet. Drax and Gamora call for GROOTFALL as they secure the train in the ship's hold. Nebula tells Peter that they are still 15% overweight and they will be caught in the impact wave, but Peter thinks they will be fast enough, gunning the engines as the shockwave comes for them. Amongst the shockwave, the roots of Groot come for the ship, grabbing onto the final train cart that hangs out the back, unbalancing the ship. The train carts begin to snap out of their restraints, so Drax grabs hold of them, telling Gamora that he can hold it in place, as Peter arrives and melts part of the cart, instantly freezing it with his elemental gun and securing the load. Drax, whose head was burned by the blast, tells Peter that the first box is secure, but the second will be lost. Peter knows that half a win is as good as the Guardians will get, as the ship blasts free from the planet's atmosphere. The team try and contact Mantis, worried that she was in that second cart that was detached. Mantis, however, is still in the first cart, watching with the boy as the lost cart is consumed by Groot's roots. Mantis assures Peter that none of them made it into orbit since they have all become Groot. The voice from before, revealed to be the child now grown up, says that that's how he met the Guardians of the Galaxy in his childhood, and while they were embers on the wind, they still pulled him and his people up and set them on another world to grow anew. He thinks about the Guardians often and how they stood for the defenseless and gave a voice to the voiceless. But after all these years, he cannot help consider that no matter how much a man might try, the fire only ends one way.